felt it would give us the best access to the strongest possible group of senior insurance decision makers.
InsurTech Insights is a must-do conference, I think, for the network that is built here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bobby Srivastav. I'm co-founder, CEO of Solvrays, and today we're going to be talking about your invisible workforce. So let me ask you a question. Imagine your most reliable employee, the person that everyone trusts, the person who somehow knows where everything is, and the person who keeps the wheels off falling. And now imagine that person that never misses a deadline, never forgets a task, never complains about repetitive task or repetitive work, never takes a vacation, and coordinates works across 15 different systems. Sounds impossible, right? And yet, most organizations are trying to hire this employee. They're just calling it AI. And AI is very powerful, but here's the challenge. AI alone does not complete the workflows because the work doesn't really happen in models. It happens across people, emails, documents, systems, and nobody wakes up and says, I need more AI. They wake up and say, I need this work to get done. And so what we're talking about is, you're going to be hearing across the floor about this new way of doing work, and something new is emerging, and we call it as the invisible workforce. A workforce that's consistent of people, systems, documents, decisions, and workflows that are all working together in a coordinated way. And as a founder that has been in this in insurance for the last 11 years, this is the piece that really resonates with me, because I have worked alongside 20, 30 different carriers across different products, different systems, different operating models, but I kept seeing the same thing over and over again. Amazing people in operations are spending so much of their time chasing documents, emails, handoffs, and legacy systems that honestly require a prayer and patience to operate. And the goal is, why are people have become the integration layer? And this is why, why couldn't the work just coordinate itself? And this is, why we're so excited to be talking about the company that I've built called Solvrays. Solvrays has been around since we launched our MVP in April of last year, and we have been working with over 6 carriers, not POCs, they're in production, and we really have been navigating how do we get operations to really work in the most intelligent way possible. So when you are an operations leader, how do you think about unlocking capacity? How do you scale faster without having to worry about the trends that are happening in our industry where there's retirement happening? So one of the use cases that I'm going to walk you guys through is reimagining what agent onboarding looks like. So, and when I talk about agents, these are not like your agentic agents, these are like your folks that are actually selling products. So what's happening right now is, when we work with carriers, oftentimes, and I come from life and annuity, so I'm going to use a lot of the life and annuity examples, but then, we're going to deviate into a little bit of what we were doing in the property casualty side of the house. But what we're noticing is when new agents are being onboarded or, transfers, the data is coming from your BGAs. They're coming through, if you're annuities, DTCC feeds, they're coming through manually. And what we're seeing is how is operations now doing these big NIGO checks to make sure data is clean, making sure it's getting verified with all these different data sources, but also I have to order now a background check. I may not need to do a background check because I can look at FINRA for some examples, and I could tell you the list goes on and on and on in terms of all of these different checks. So these pointed solutions exist, but a person, it's human-led integration. I, as a person, have to go to these different awesome pinpoint solutions to get the data that I need, to make the decisions that I need so that I can onboard them faster. And by the way, if I'm in a legacy system, more than likely I'm keying that information in across multiple systems. So here's an example of what this, in Solvrays, how we tackled it. We're connected to different data sources because we, from a system perspective, we are an orchestration system, and then we build different capabilities. So this is a very clean way to show an agent, show an operations person that's managing this, what is it looking like? What is it in progress? Where are they at? And then when I click through it, it's autonomously doing the work. So it's telling a person that, hey, an application came in. Oh, by the way, I went ahead and did the FINRA check. I've done the NIPR validation. I've ordered your big order, and we've received that order. And now we're going to kind of walk you through a little bit of a simulation of what that looks like from operations. What are they actually going to be seeing? So what they're going to see is all the data in a nice summary format, all the artifacts, all the verification. It's not just like, hey, I verified it. Let's prove to you that we actually did that. So then this is allowing us to see all of that information in one holistic way. So your data, your documentation, and then from an onboarding perspective, so now if we start small with new agent, but then I have a change of agent process. How do we make that easier? So now our platform really allows you to pretty much go through the steps that an operations person would do, and we would mimic those steps, and we would use agentic where it makes sense, and we would use automation where it makes sense. So this isn't a process, like we've already pre-built a lot of these template types. So you're not building this from scratch. It's coming to you in one way. And I'll just end by saying, on this side, in this particular use case, it's all about speed, and it's all about making sure we've got the right process. So if your process changes, it's okay. You're not going to go through an eight-month process to go through IT, create a business case. We want to really eradicate and make it simpler for you to make good decisions to automate versus going through like the processes that we've seen historically. So now let's go from agent onboarding to how can we use this type of system to streamline servicing. And when I talk about streamlining servicing, I'm talking about use cases like, beneficiary requests, loan requests. It could be any data or document that comes into your organization that somebody needs to do work on. So we're going to do like a brief demo of what that looks like. So in this example, we chose these loan requests. So if you're a life and annuity carrier, you're getting loan requests, and oftentimes they're coming through an email box. So our system this is like an example of I'm sending a loan request. And what you're noticing is it's attaching a document. So imagine a policyholder's doing that work. Made it very simple. So yes, it looks at handwriting as well. We have our own pre-built extraction, but if you're already working with an extraction company, we can easily integrate. And what you're seeing is this orchestration layer. So this is going to get a little bit technical. I'm going to try to not be too techy here. But in order to process a loan request, we're seeing an email. First, we're identifying, is it a loan request or not? Then we're extracting, because oftentimes people may say, I'm doing a loan request, but I also want to change my beneficiary. That's two different tasks that a person needs to look at. So how do we split it? How do we extract the right data so that it goes to the right people? And then what we're doing here is also validating key policy status, right? So when a document comes in, the loan request, do I have the amounts? Can I actually take a loan on that? What's the policy status? Is it terminated? Is it still active? So what you're seeing here is because we're sitting on top of systems, now we're pulling and pushing data without a human being actually making that, going through the process. We're actually automating that. And now what we're doing is to a person, for demo purposes, we're kind of showing you what that looks like. But this could be on top of your existing workflow. We're giving you the data, we're giving you the document, and we're actually, this is one of our partners' system that we're going into, where we have actually invoked a loan request. So when a person gets it, they don't have to go through 5 different steps to create a loan request, to issue a loan request. The system's already doing that, but somebody needs to review it. Somebody does need to approve it if your organization wants that. But the key is, it's because it's sitting on top of systems, it's already doing that work a person shouldn't be doing. And this is what we mean by the invisible workforce. So the same process goes with correspondence. You have a document that needs to be generated. How do we make it easier? And here's like some of the work that we're actually, my partner here, Penn River, is here. We're actually working on some really good use cases of making that process better. And then this is another use case. Now I'm moving into the property casualty side, where we're saying, hey, a renewal has come in. How do we make it easier for the underwriter to see what data, what does the renewal look like and we're integrated with Fora for that. And I'm losing my time, but what I really want to end with is it's the same platform, but different outcomes, because we're a pattern company, so we see patterns across different lines of business. And because of our expertise in our industry, we're able to really solve these problems. And I just want to end by saying, we won't be doing this by ourselves. We have a great partner ecosystem. A lot of our partners are here. So come by our booth. We're in 719, and our partners are going to be here too. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'll be at my booth for any questions or comments that you guys may have. Thank you.
Bobby, thank you very much.